You are listening to the Tiger-Cats, or at least the Tiger-Cats Audio Network, and you are listening to Tiger-Cats Pregame presented by Journey Rewards. I'm Bubba O'Neill along with Andy Fantuz, and let's connect with Coach Sal. John Salavanis dropping by with his pregame salutations, and you know what, as always, appreciate the check-in, Coach.
Hey, Bubba, nice to talk with you, and Andy.
You know, Coach, the Tiger-Cats have kind of rolled up so much momentum. You've heard the coach say it. We're in a playoff game. We're in a playoff game. And that's resulted in 5 wins in their last 6 outings. How much will Coach O and his coaching staff be concerned about that word, momentum?
Well, I'm not so sure that momentum right now is one that they'll mention a whole lot. Because they've reached their short-term goal, which you mentioned, which was making the playoffs. Now, what that does is it provides the opportunity for some of those backups to become starters and some practice players to get on the field. And Andy and you were talking about that. When those players get on the field, they can turn potential into performance. You know, and really, this is where you're going to learn how strong your bottom half of your roster is. So I think they're more concerned today with coming out of this game healthy and being ready to go into Montreal next week.
Coach, I think what people might not understand is even if someone's been on the roster all year, once you finish training camp in the preseason, you get to the regular practice week, and if you're not on the active roster, then you're really just running scout cards. So you're not giving yourself a chance to compete for that job day in and day out. I mean, you can do the right things and make plays, but you're essentially just trying to run whether it's the offense, defense, or special teams of the team that the Ticats are facing. So how do you, what's another way to say this to sort of emphasize the importance of making that transition to the active roster and like you just mentioned?
Well, number one, Andy, is a paycheck. You get a game check if you get on that roster. So for some, this means, you're going to get a game check. For others, it's going to be their debut with the Ticats as a starter. And yet, sadly enough, for some, it becomes their swan song. So there's a lot at stake for those guys who are replacing starters on that field.
I've never been a big streak guy or history guy when it comes to, as a player, but the Ticats 2 weeks ago in Calgary ended a 17-year drought of road losses in Calgary, and a streak that goes on that long may kind of squeak into the locker room a little bit, I feel like, and have some kind of clout. Now, what about these streaks? The Ottawa Redblacks are winless at home. Do you think that team is playing, is thinking about that and trying to break that streak? And you can't forget that, Hamilton won in Calgary 2 weeks ago, but they're still 1-7 on the road this year. Is Hamilton thinking, I'm going to have hopefully three more road games after today? Is that a streak that they're also trying to break the mold and become a little more comfortable with?
Well, they have to break the mold if they want to get in the Grey Cup. And when you mentioned the Red Blacks, remember the 2 games against the Red Blacks were both decided by a field goal. One was a missed field goal in Hamilton by the Red Blacks, and the other was Keith Small's last second field goal to win against the Red Blacks. So the Red Blacks, in my opinion, have everything to play for in this game. They're playing for their jobs, and that's most important to them. And so, they will be fired up and ready to play. The streak itself for the Tiger-Cats, I don't think will bother them as much as the Red Blacks want to win at home for their fans. They don't want to be, as Edmonton was, not winning in the home field. So I think the Red Blacks will probably be more fired up in that regard than the Ticats.
Coach, the Ticats have won 6 straight now versus Ottawa over the past few seasons. Just throwing another stat here, that this is the first time since 1996 that no games this weekend have any playoff implications whatsoever. As a coach, What would your strategy be here as far as play calling for this game, or is it more looking to set up things for next week? How vanilla are you going to be? What's your strategy for play calling?
Well, my idea going into this ball game would be twofold. Number one, you got a lot of new people on the field, so you emphasize the fact don't take penalties. Penalties are play killers. Secondly, I would say we're going to play as aggressive as we can. Matthew Schultz deserves the opportunity as the second quarterback to come in and have a wide-open offense and go after the Redblacks. On the other side of the field, defensively, with the new guys that are over there on the defensive side, I would blitz every second down and try to make the Redblacks uncomfortable in their skin.
You know, Coach, is there a player out there that tickles your fancy that you're looking forward to? I know you are a lover of the offensive line, and this Brandon Kemp that we were talking about earlier, playing right tackle today, 6'7", 310 in his first rookie year. That's a monster.
He is a big man. There's no question about that. They're going to have to take him to the scales on a pickup truck in order to weigh him in. But,
I'll join him.
But at the same time, you know, I think both Riley and Kemp are playing for their jobs. You know, if the Ticats are looking at these guys saying, are they good enough to bring back next year, or do we have to go out and find new guys in those positions? So I think those two in particular, Riley and Kemp, need to really show what they can do. And with Malden, I don't know, Malden's a game-time decision for the Redblacks at defensive end. Don't let him ruin your chance to making this football team, whether he's playing over Riley or playing over Kemp.
Coach Sal, as always, you are the man. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy what's hopefully a stress-free victory for Hamilton.
I look forward to it, and I will predict a victory.